Donald Trump is now ordering nuclear weapons to be tested in a completely deranged rant. He's confused about nuclear weapons. He doesn't know who has the most nuclear weapons. Now, I first saw this headline this morning. Trump wants to test nuclear weapons. And I thought to myself, oh no, it's another authoritarian delusion. But I also thought to myself, damn, this guy really doesn't want the Epstein files out there. We have audio from Air Force One of Trump talking about this just hours ago. Let's take a listen.
It would have been a very bad war, too.
Sir, with the nuclear announcement, just one more on the nuclear announcement, do you worry that we're entering a more risky environment when it comes to nuclear issues?
No, I don't think so. I think we have it pretty well locked up. But we have more than anybody. But I see them testing. And I say, well, if they're going to test, I guess we have to test. I'd like to see a denuclearization because we have so many, and Russia has some. Russia's second, and China's third, and China will catch up within 4 or 5 years. I think de-escalation would be, they would call it denuclearization, would be a tremendous thing. And it's something, we are actually talking to Russia about that, and China would be added to that if we do something. Thank you all. It was a great success. It was a
Trump's plan, I mean, think about it. What he's saying is he wants to start a nuclear arms race to denuclearize. Trump then took to Truth Social, where he said, quote, "The United States has more nuclear weapons than any other country." Now, this is not true. Russia has more nuclear weapons than any other country. If he doesn't even, so first of all, I would be shocked if Trump knew what the nuclear triad was, which of course are airplane-based nuclear weapons, land-based nuclear weapons, and sea-based nuclear weapons, like from submarines. I doubt Trump even knows what the triad is. But Trump also doesn't know who has the most nukes. If you don't understand fundamental basics about this issue, are you really well positioned to guide policy? I would say no. But Trump says the United States has more nuclear weapons than any other country. That's not true. He continues. This was accomplished, including a complete update and renovation of existing weapons during my first term in office. That's also a lie. Because of the tremendous destructive power, I hated to do it, but I had no choice. Russia's second, China's a distant third, but will be even within 5 years. Because of other countries' testing programs, I have instructed the Department of War, it's the Department of Defense, by the way, to start testing our nuclear weapons on an equal basis. That process will begin immediately. Thank you for your attention to this matter, President Donald J. Trump. A reporter on Air Force One then asked Trump about the post. Why did you post about nuclear testing? Why are you doing that? Here's what Trump had to say.
What about resuming nuclear testing? What prompted you to do that right before the meeting?
It had to do with others. They seem to all be nuclear testing.
Russia?
We have more nuclear weapons than anybody. We don't do testing. We've halted it many years ago. But with others doing testing, I think it's appropriate that we do also.
Any details around the testing, sir? Like where, when?
It'll be announced. We have test sites. It'll be announced.
Did Israel?
So Russia, the number of false claims are staggering, given that it's just one Truth Social post and a couple of short clips. Half of the clip is the reporter talking. Russia has a larger stockpile than the United States. Trump is taking credit for a modernization plan during his first term. That was actually an Obama program. It just was completed while Trump was president. Trump didn't interfere, taking credit for something he didn't do, something authoritarians love to do. But also the idea of what's really going on here, and you're going to see this in our coverage of Trump's meeting with President Xi. Trump is obsessed with looking strong like the dictators that he admires. He wants to look strong like Putin. He wants to look strong like Xi and Kim Jong-un. What do strong men love? Nuclear swagger. They love to sort of expose their nuclear arsenal, maybe to try to counteract the small size in other areas like Trump's hands, of course. Now, experts think Trump is reacting to Russia claiming they've tested a nuclear-powered cruise missile. But defense analysts are looking at this and saying this is just kind of dumb. The Soviet era showboating with weapons, it really isn't of any strategic value. And in fact, there are foreign policy analysts who think there's more value in not displaying what you have. Trump's instinct is I have to look tougher in a very transparent and sort of childish way. And that is straight out of the authoritarian playbook, which is create theater and that sort of thing. But there's a lot to be said about actually not showing all of your cards. Now, Trump is continuing to call the Department of Defense the Department of War. Trump is saying, I have instructed. He's not saying we've decided. And that is another dictatorial sort of language. And third, begin immediately. Never mind that nuclear tests require massive preparation. Trump seems to think they'll just start testing nukes. Where? I don't know. We're going to figure it out. When? Right away. Responsible nuclear powers don't do this. Now, I'm for denuclearization, but I also can say, what is the behavior of a more responsible nuclear power? No nuclear state against other than North Korea has conducted tests recently because democracies tend to recognize nuclear restraint is the strength. It is not weakness. We don't need to detonate warheads because we have sophisticated ways of testing the components. Now, Trump likes, in addition to being enamored with strongmen, Trump also likes a lot of Cold War era stuff. And one of those things is the kinds of testing that have been terrible for Homo sapiens living on planet Earth. I think this is another Putin manipulation at the end of the day. Trump's getting played by Putin and Xi simultaneously. Putin makes a propaganda announcement, and Trump, who desperately wants to be seen as being just as strong as Vladimir Putin, feels he has to respond. Another sign of weakness. You don't look strong when you respond right away and say, well, I'm going to do it too then. And it's not happening in a vacuum. Trump is regularly praising dictators. He's attacking Democratic allies. He's trying to grab authoritarian powers that the Constitution and the law don't actually provide to the president. And we should all be concerned. Trump talks about, the N-word. You don't ever want to say the N-word. And I guess he means nuclear when he says that. That is exactly what he is playing with right now. By Trump's own standards, this is not something you want to be messing around with. And that is what he is doing. Now, if we step back, one of the things that this country was founded upon was let's prevent power from being concentrated in the hands of one person who acts like a king. That's exactly what Donald Trump is trying to do here. And I don't anticipate that unless someone stops him, he's going to get off that train. A pending Supreme Court case could strip our Fourth Amendment rights and allow immigration agents to come into our homes for any reason, no probable cause needed, all while Republicans try to twist things so that you think this is all great for America. This should be the biggest story in the U.S. right now, but it's almost impossible to keep up with the millions of moves that Trump is making every single day. That's why Ground News exists. Ground News is an app and website that exposes the blind spots and spin before it takes control of our opinions. Ground News is the smarter, more reliable way to stay informed when MAGA is banking on us getting distracted. I'm partnering up with Ground News to give you 40% off the same Vantage plan that I use. So you'll pay only $5 a month for all of their premium features. Just go to ground.news/Pakman or use the code Pakman in the app when you sign up. The link is in the description or scan the QR code.